we're
Hello,
live.
everybody. Welcome to the show. We have a special guest today, Marina.
Thank you for inviting me back.
Level 2 coach, birth.
Birth worker,
Yes.
social worker.
I didn't know the right term, actually. Birth. I was going to say like birth extraordinaire. I don't know why. That's what was coming to mind. So is extraordinaire okay or?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You can always put extraordinaire next to my name.
Marina, you joined the 200 pound
I joined the 200 pound club today.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
We want to talk about observations of our strength cycle. So we just finished it. We are testing this week. This is test week.
Testing week.
Let's talk a little bit about our cycle. Marina, why don't you share about what we did?
Well, 12 weeks, that's 3 months, folks, that we've been deliberately focusing on strength. We've been doing 1 day of powerlifting, 1 day of Olympic lifting, 2 pump days, 2 conditioning days. And it's been very, very deliberate what we're doing here, people. Tell us more.
One thing we were very afraid of as a coaching team was doing something this segmented, because a lot of people that do CrossFit are very used to constantly varied functional movements at high intensity is great. But what we've seen from doing this now a decade is that in an off season, or when we're not competing and we're really backing off, we need to be much more deliberate. And so we were like, hey, let's do this. We think this is how you get better. This is our job, is to help you get better. And we've seen this work. We weren't making it up. We've tested it with people like you and Madeline. And we decided to bring it, kind of roll it out to the gym. So we did the last 3 months.
Yeah, and there were some feels. I would say there were some feelings. You know, as Anton just said, like we're used to that like high. I mean, we're used to some heavy days for sure. Yeah. That's always been there.
But always like
random.
Random.
And I mean, I was just talking with Bethany, who said, so rarely have I worked on my back squat. Like this is the first time I've ever really worked on my back squat.
And Bethany's a very advanced,
seasoned athlete.
Yes.
So yeah, you know, there were some feelings, I think.
Yeah. We definitely had people that as the cycle went on were like, hey, I really want to hurt really bad. And when they say hurt, they're talking about a specific feeling of
on the floor, can't breathe.
Yes, which comes from a type of CrossFit workout that usually
questioning the meaning of life.
Yes.
Why you're alive.
Yeah, I'd say open workouts are kind of, that's what they are. And that's something very special and unique to CrossFit. And they're great tests, but they are not great ways to improve things like your back squat or your deadlift. But at the same time, we also had a lot of people that as the cycle went on, were like, I'm really liking this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the cool shift to see. Like there were a lot of strong feelings at the beginning. And then I think throughout the cycle, people were realizing that you can still get a great workout doing heavy barbell lifting. Yeah. I mean, like it seems so obvious, but when you're used to doing that super high intensity, it's a different kind of exhilarating feeling.
Yeah.
But I mean, check out Mick every time he's back squatting and deadlift. Dude is drenched in sweat. Yeah. You know, the whole shirt is a different color.
People did learn how to work harder in strength training.
Yes.
Like everybody's like that does CrossFit, I think does work really hard in mixed modal high fatigue training. But I think with Olympic lifting, powerlifting, but mostly we saw the big difference was in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Where people started to really understand how to isolate a muscle and really go close to fatigue. I feel like a lot of people got a lot better at that.
I mean,
and it
is just where it's at.
It's the best feeling, honestly.
Oh, you just feel ripped.
I want to say an Arnold Schwarzenegger quote right now, but I'm not going to.
Do it!
But no, I can't. He really liked the feeling of bodybuilding. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean,
he liked it more than anything.
It's rushing into your muscles, and that's what we call the pump. Your muscles get a really tight feeling, like your skin is going to explode any minute. You know, it's really tight. It's like somebody blowing air into muscle. It just blows up, and it feels different. It feels fantastic. It's as satisfying to me as coming.
There's no feeling like a bodybuilding feeling. Like when you are really lifting to fatigue.
That's the pump.
When you get that pump, you just feel all that blood flowing.
Yes. Come on.
Oh, man. It feels so good. And I think for a lot of people who've never like really pushed hard in the pump realm or even ever done pump, it was a new feeling. And it is a different feeling. But if you're really in, there's nothing like it.
I think this has been a really cool cycle. And let's talk about what happened today.
Wow. So many PRs. Anton's got some stats for you.
Yes, 85% of people that have tested today have PR'd.
Wow.
95% of people that are on personal programming, that means they have a coach and they're having a personal program designed for them, have PR'd. So almost every single person. That's incredible results.
A lot of like massive PRs.
Yes. We've definitely seen some
all
40-pound PRs. Yeah, I mean, even
ones.
Madeline wasn't supposed to max today and did and hit a 20-pound PR, and you're not a beginner. Pretty crazy. At the end of the day, my thought is like, hello, everybody. We weren't making this up when we said this. Like, if you focus on it, you're going to see results. And I don't know why that was. I think it's just because it's not how we're used to training. We saw exactly what we thought we would see.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And like we talk a lot about how for the beginner athlete, you're getting PRs constantly,
no
right?
matter what you're
no
doing.
matter what.
Yeah.
But for the more seasoned athletes, people who have been doing CrossFit for years,
Yes,
have been sharing with us like, I've been stuck at this number for years, and now I'm just seeing these gains that I haven't seen since when I first started.
But this is the type of stuff that you need to start doing. You need to understand that as you improve and get better, the more narrow your training margin can be. And if you train two concurrently, you just can't get better, especially as you advance. And so that's what we got to see. And what's really cool is even for the people that are beginners, improved even more than if they didn't do this. Who knew? But when you repeat things, you get better.
Oh, wow.
Insane takeaway. Insane takeaway.
You just got to do it. You got to do it over and over and over.
Shut up! Repetitive training is actually really good. There's a lot of reasons that people wanted to get away from that. It's exciting. I mean, when CrossFit first came on the scene, it was just so different and exciting. Mm-hmm. And it felt different. That's the biggest thing. We can't really explain how crazy Fran feels if you've never done it. That mixed style training. But I'll tell you what, when you can get back to repeating things enough that you really start to feel what it feels like, it's unbelievable.
Again, back to that repeating, when you're not used to a heavy barbell on your back, that feeling when you walk out from the rig is scary. Like it's uncomfortable when you're like, this is a new feeling for me.
Yes.
But when you keep doing it in a way that's structured and deliberate and like designed for you to gain strength, it's incredible. You know, you can walk out of the rig and be like, oh yeah, I got this.
Yeah,
I know this feeling. I've been here before.
Yeah, you've been here before.
I've shown to myself I can do this.
Yes.
And there's nothing like that feeling. I mean, the confidence then that you have going into a lift when you're not scared is...
It's massive.
It's massive.
So
that's the mental gain.
Even for you, let's just talk about you for a second, because you've done this for a while. When you started repeating your back squat, share with folks, like what was the big takeaway for you?
My 1 rep max was like 160 or 165 maybe for a long time.
From my point of view, you should be squatting more than 165.
Yeah, for sure. But when he said that, you know, I was like, I don't know.
But you were like,
I never do that. I don't think. And you were like, I remember our first PT session that we ever did together last July when you were like, you're going to hit 5 at 165. And I was just like, okay. And I did. And then we just kept building and repeating. I mean, and that was the biggest thing. It's just the neurological, the mental piece of feeling comfortable with that weight. And I joined the 200 club today. Obviously, like, you know, already have more future goals on the horizon, but I felt so good about that.
That's a big milestone.
Yeah.
I feel like 200 you've crossed a mental barrier.
Definitely.
And that's a cool feeling.
It's such a cool feeling.
Neurological development from CrossFit has always been defined as keep learning new things. And that's a way that we can keep the brain functioning well. And I think that is a part of neurological development. Doing enough new things, learning how to climb ropes, do double unders, that is neurological. But the part we forget about is there's also a neurological component to repeating things enough to become really good at it. And I would argue to say that early on in CrossFit, we saw much more repeating than we see now. Again, CrossFit became a much bigger thing. But if you read the old articles of Glassman and you look at the old programming from 2001, it was very repetitive. I would argue that as constantly varied as it has become, that doesn't mean as random as it is now. It was varied in the sense that he was always adding things to a muscle up to make it harder. It's a really, if you ever go look back at the 2001 archives, it's not that random. One other thing we saw that was really cool today, Marina said this, people were excited to test. And that goes back to repeating stuff. I hate the feeling of being afraid when I test. And it happens a lot in CrossFit. You're like, oh God, I got to do Helen today. And you're like, oh man, I'm not ready to like try to do that. If you practice it, you will be excited.
Yeah. And I just keep thinking about like, if you can get, I mean, it's everything that you've been saying this whole time, but it's like, if you can get a stronger, bigger back squat, bigger deadlift, then a lot of these workouts, you see these numbers in the workout and you're like, I got that, you know, like when you see, what was it? 25.2 with the 155 pound, or was that 25.3 where we're doing the wall walks?
Yes. 25.3.
You know, you see 155 and I remember being like, oh fuck, can I do 155 pounds? I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. You know what I mean? But like, I think a year ago, I would have looked at that and been like, well, it's not going to happen for me today.
It sounds simple, right? But it's like, imagine we set that workout up for you and the barbell was 55 pounds for all of it. You'd be like, okay, cool, easy. Yeah. Can't we just think intuitively for a second? If we can make the heavier loads feel like they're 55, it's going to be, I don't know why we make it so complex. CrossFit is a strength sport and we have to be able to lift certain numbers from the data that we have. And if we make those feel easier, meaning the contraction is not so heavy. I don't know. It's not very complex, but we don't think of it like this.
I know.
Like if a 14-pound wall ball feels heavy for you, it's going to be hard no matter what. It doesn't matter how much grit you have, you know.
Yeah.
Make that thing feel like a 6-pound wall ball. Exactly. And I promise you, you're going to be smooth sailing. You're going to be smooth sailing.
It will be easier.
Yeah, and most people, I would argue, that do CrossFit have a much better VO2 than they think. We have like some of the best VO2 maxes out there. It's like as good as elite cyclists, and we see that with advanced CrossFitters. But what we don't have is muscular endurance and strength, absolute strength. That's what we need to get better at.
Exactly. And I want to say one more thing on that. I think for a lot of people, if we were to do a survey around this gym of like, why did you come to Blue House? What brought you here? I would argue that most people would say to get stronger. I mean, I think that's why a lot of people join the gym, and specifically a gym like ours is to get stronger. So it's like, remember, that's what you came here for. So like this cycle has just really affirmed that original goal you had. You got stronger. Don't lose sight of that. We're trying to get stronger for life, for the functional aspects of our life, for carrying our groceries, picking up our kids, like aging well. You got to be strong.
You got to be strong. That's
core. The whole point.
It's core. I'm also going to add that I think if we took another survey and asked everybody why did they do bad on a workout, like Fran or Helen even, they would say my cardio is not good enough. What it is I can't move the loads required while at a high heart rate because those loads are too heavy. And you have to think of a pull-up as a load. You are the load.
Yes.
And if that is like 80% of your, let's just say that you can't do a strict weighted pull-up 2x your body weight. Well, then yes, 40, 50, 60 pull-ups are going to feel really hard and taxing.
Yes.
And that's why people get confused that have things like Whoop and they're like, my heart rate was only like 150 in that workout, but it felt like it was 200. It's because it wasn't cardiovascular as much as you think.
As much as you think.
Yes. And so strength makes everything easier.
Yeah.
Last thing we'll say about the strength cycle is that we saw less injuries. So if you run a gym and you're seeing people get hurt, it's usually from high fatigue work, too much of it. We've lowered that fatigue. People just doing bicep curls twice a week, lat pull downs. Man, that stuff feels good. Everybody seems a bit healthier. So also part of the strength cycle is letting people's bodies kind of recover after doing some hard stuff. Any last words, Marina?
I think my last words would just be around there are seasons. First of all, we're all athletes in this gym. Professional athletes have seasons. We should have seasons. Like, think of it. I mean, it's just like the seasons of nature, the seasons of life, the seasons of the school year. Like, there are seasons. You're not supposed to do the same thing every day. We're moving now into a new season. Like, we're not going to just keep doing the strength. This was very, very effective. And now we're entering the next season.
Yeah,
we're going to focus on the competition.
Yep, we got a competition coming up, so we got a competition prep. So if you've been missing your hard training, it's coming.
It just feels good to move and live in a seasonable fashion. This is just the way of the earth and nature.
Wow.
I'm serious, y'all. Learn from the moon.
Come on. I think that is a great place to end. Learn from the moon, baby.